This is the time to level it up. We are here. We're going to be blessed by our speaker, Darlisa Diltz. She is the owner of Foundations EDC. EDC stands for Entrepreneur Development Company. She's also the owner of the South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center. She'll tell you more about that. But without any further ado, I want to get her up here and start dropping some knowledge to all of you right now. So please give some energy and love to our speaker today, Darlisa Diltz.
How do I know if I'm on? Thank you so much. Thank you, Clifton, for this opportunity. Thank all of you all for being here this morning. We're going to fast track through the presentation because it is a lot, but you will have the opportunity to connect with me later. Any questions that I can ask or answer, I'm sorry, I will be happy to do so. So as Clifton mentioned, maybe. All right, hold on one second, guys. Gotta love technology. As Clifton mentioned, my name is Darlisa Diltz, and I am the Chief Entrepreneurship Strategist for an organization called Foundations Entrepreneur Development Company. We were originally established in 2017 as North Texas Entrepreneur Education and Training. We were the first for-profit, Black-owned, woman-owned business service organization in Dallas-Fort Worth. Thank you. In 24, we rebranded because we are a global company now, so we do programs around the world, and our focus has always been entrepreneur education. Born and raised St. Louis, Missouri, I am that person. I did not see entrepreneurship growing up, so I don't have that story of my family and my connections, so I did not see entrepreneurship, and I did not anticipate being an entrepreneur. So I stand here blessed today to even be able to hold this conversation, and hopefully today you guys will take away some nuggets. I am a devout Christian. Everything that I do is to give honor to God because my faith is what keeps me here. And so if I'm ever in a place where I can't share that message, I don't want to be there. But hey, you know, I respect all walks, but I am a devout Christian. I am a wife. I heard you say you were getting ready to celebrate 20. My husband and I, we celebrated 20 years in October, and we've been together 26 years. I am a mother. I have 2 in college. Whoo, child. I have 2 in college. My daughter is 22 and my son is 19. Both college athletes, honor students. So again, as a first generation college student as well, again, very blessed to be able to share that testimony. All of these other things are what I would say represent me. The last thing I want to say is probably top 3. I'm a lover of all things fun. So if we're not having fun, it's changing when I enter the room, right? Because I get bored easy. I'm just going to be honest. So today, as you think about it, we're going to fast track through the conversation. So please write down any questions that you have, and I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. All right, so our objectives today, if anyone knows me, my passion is entrepreneurship. Most of the things that I talk about is entrepreneurship, how to engage, and ecosystem building. So today, we are going to discuss the concept of entrepreneurship in today's climate. I've heard Ms. Tammy mention, you know, we are in a new administration, things are changing, and it is super important for us to be vigilant on what that looks like. We're going to talk about the difference between entrepreneur, entrepreneurial, and entrepreneurship, right? And y'all, I'm going to tell you, I'm a realist. So I don't give the warm and fuzzy. It's real out here, right? But entrepreneurship is valuable, but you have to make sure that you understand what you are getting into before you get into it. And then things pan out, okay? We are going to talk about the stages of a business cycle because, again, it's the understanding of entrepreneurship that keeps us in entrepreneurship. We are going to introduce a concept that I like to fake like I've coined everything, but I probably didn't. But we do a lot with the business GPS because GPSs are what we use, right, on a daily basis. And so talking about what a business GPS is and how it is beneficial for you, the importance of establishing goals. Of course, I'm going to give you some business resources. There are a few on the table that are directly tied to me, but there should also be a sheet that has a plethora of resources in the Dallas-Fort Worth community. You got a question?
Yeah, just to let people know online that all of the handouts that you have, links to those handouts are provided in the description underneath the video.
There you go. So yes, and Elizabeth, please remind me, I have some things coming up in Plano, so I want to make sure I keep you tapped in with that. And then lastly, I have a call to action, right? Because I'm Darlisa, and if we're not doing the work, then why are we here, right? So just, tighten in a little bit. Again, I'm going to go through it. It's my understanding that Clifton will be providing the handouts for you and the presentation. So any questions that you have, let me know. All right, we just did this, so thank you guys for introducing yourselves. I like to know who's in the room, because if I'm going to tell you about me, I want to know who you are as well. I do have business cards. I'm happy to share that information with you, and I would love to connect. I am a big LinkedIn fan, so would love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. And if there's anything that you are doing, please, please connect with me, and I will be happy to get behind it. I'm only one person, but I'll make sure if I can spread it, I will. So let's jump into it, okay? And I want you guys to talk back to me a little bit, right? So when you hear the term entrepreneurship, what would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions? That it's easy, you work for yourself. What else? You're the boss, right? These don't make a lot of money. Ooh, that part, right? That you're gonna make a lot of money. What did you say? That you're in it for yourself, right? There's no one else that's going to help you. So, go ahead. Everything depends on you. And these are such great points, right? And they're all relevant because this is what we hear. But the problem is a lot of these things are falsehoods. Yes, they are true, but yes, they are falsehoods as well. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. It's like, how is it true and false? Well, we're going to talk about it, okay? Because again, it starts with your mind. It starts with how you think about a process. And if we're not able to overcome that, then therein lies the problem. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have three things that we are going to cover. Entrepreneur. How many of us are entrepreneurs? Okay. How many of us feel like we are entrepreneurial? How many of us understand entrepreneurship? Okay, right? At the end of it all, innovation is at the forefront of all three of those concepts, right? Because if you fall into any one of these categories, you are a constant thinker. You are a constant doer. You are a constant activator, right? So it just depends if you are doing these things for yourself, if you are doing them for a company, or if you are a part of a collaborative that is considered a movement or an effort, okay? But all of these things include innovation. So let's give some definitions, right? So entrepreneur, who can read that for me?
A person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so.
Okay, so what she said was a person, I won't reread it, it's so a person, right? And they take on greater than normal. What's this next phrase? So I want you guys to stick a pin right there, okay? An entrepreneur is what? A person who takes on greater than what? Stick a pin, all right? All right, who's got me on entrepreneurial? Oh, my bad.
Having the ability to come up with ideas and ventures while working to embody those ideas into high growth companies.
Okay, so what she said, what is entrepreneurial? Having the what? Ability to come up with ideas. But what's this? Say that loud. Okay, so having the ability to come up with, and then what's this? While working. Stick a pin in it, okay? This ain't church, but we going somewhere, okay? All right, so next, who has me? We got to get on this side of the room. My fella's leaving me hanging. Where we at? Where we at, fellas? All right, so what is entrepreneurship?
Of economic value, usually by disrupting the current market with new product or service offering.
Okay, so entrepreneurship is a creation or extraction, right? Usually by disrupting, right? How many of you guys as entrepreneurs feel like most of the time what you're offering is a disruption? Whether it is a message, whether it is your model, whether it is your concept, whatever the case may be, it is typically a disruption, right? Because that's what entrepreneurship is. And I don't know if you guys were like me. When I was in high school, they told me that I needed to get a job. They told me that I needed to climb the corporate ladder. They told me that I needed to work for someone, right? So entrepreneurship in itself is a disruption to what we are taught, okay? Yes, since then, so much has changed in the landscape of entrepreneurship and the access to entrepreneurship, but please don't get it twisted. The landscape says we need to work for somebody, okay? So in this conversation today, I want us to hone in on the practicalities of entrepreneurship, the background of entrepreneurship, and then what that really, really means, right? So we're going to go back real quick because there's a couple things I wanted us to stick a pin in, right? A person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk. That says that that person takes on that risk. If you are saying you are an entrepreneur, you are saying, yes, I want to take on that financial risk. Entrepreneurial says you are great at coming up with ideas. You are a creator. The innovation flows. But the key term is while working, right? So you guys know sometimes, I don't know if you go to church or if you don't go to church, but when you hear these messages and they take the scripture and they start dissecting it, and you're like, dang, I didn't even think about it like that, right? I'm here for y'all today, okay? So listen, you're going to go back and you're going to be like, she said a couple things, all right? All right. So let's keep this conversation going. So when we think about entrepreneurship, we always have to enter at a place, okay? Most of the time, this confuses the masses, okay? Because when we enter into entrepreneurship, we are entering from a place of passion. We are entering from a place of neglect. We are entering from a place of necessity, right? But what we fail to realize is it's levels to this thing, okay? And that does not mean that entrepreneurship can't be for you. We have to understand that in all things, there is a cycle, right? So I'm a person, I like to use analogies. I like to, break it down. Sometimes it only makes sense to me. but I use them anyway. So let's think about when a woman gets pregnant. Is there a cycle to that process? So if I, being a woman, say that I am pregnant today, and I just found out, but the very next month, I'm holding a baby, what are going to be your thoughts? Something ain't right, right? I have completed my 9 months. I have delivered that thing. It has hair, it's crying, and it is ready to go in 1 month. Is that realistic? No, it's not. But for some strange reason, in entrepreneurship, our mind goes to that thing. On Monday, we have an idea. Yes, we doing this, right? We have it. All of my people told me that I am good at this. So we're making it happen. On Monday, Michael, don't tell them my secret, because you heard this a little bit already, right? On Monday, we have it, right? But then, for whatever reason, the expectation is that everyone around us should be on that bandwagon to support, to pay for, to whatever, that business that we started on Monday, right? Because we're passionate about that business. It's a thing. We're good at it. People told us we're good at it. But we ourselves haven't even taken the time to let that business grow, develop, you know. So in essence, what we're asking people to do, if we're putting it in context, we're asking them to provide care for an embryo. Usually at earlier stages of pregnancy, who is the person most responsible for that seed? The mother, right? Because there's a lot of things that have to take place in order to start preparing for the birth of this baby. So even externally, if there is a partner, if there is, you know, family that is supportive, they don't feel the impacts of this growing seed, period, right? Who feels it? The mother. Those things are symbolized sometimes through throwing up, you're exhausted, your eating habits change, etc. But again, we negate the fact that there is a process. So when we look at the stages of a business cycle, it's important for us to understand that there are phases. And you can also look at it as, and this is not the here-all, be-all. You can Google stages of business and it'll give you all different variations. However, seed and development, this is your conceptual stage, right? You are in the making, right? You are establishing what that product or service is. You are reconditioning your mind to say, this is something that I am getting ready to be a part of. How do I prepare myself? You need validations, right? These are all things that we have to go through. There's a concept called the business roller coaster, right? So when you think about going into business and the whole idea of it, when you're getting ready to ride a roller coaster ride, walk me through your emotions. What is that like from beginning to end? So you have decided you're going to ride a roller coaster. What are your emotions like? Nervous, anxiety, scared, happy, like talking yourself on and off, right? But you move forward and you're in the line and you start seeing people come around you, right? And so you're in the line and you take the seat. So now you're buckled in because now you're committed to the fact that you're getting ready to make this thing happen. And typically on a roller coaster, what's the process? It takes off slow, right? And instantly you either hit an incline or a decline, right? but you start out slow. And you're going to hit one of those two pitfalls or climax, right? But then there's what? Loops, turns, dips, twists, right? And then before you know it, you're what? You're either stopped or you're back slow, right? Mentally, where are you? Overwhelmed, exhausted, energized, so all these different emotions. Again, it's the same with entrepreneurship. So it's very important that we understand the stages of a business life cycle, because most of the time when people go into business, they instantly jump here and they're like, I need funding for my business. I need you to commit to helping me run this company. Oh, well, I've done it for, 30 years, but now it's my time. I'm gonna do it. I've worked for ABC organization, but now it's me. But we forget every business starts here, okay? Most of the time when we start to have conversations about money, investments, expansion, we're in stage 3 and 4 of the business. That's when most organizations, financial institutions want to fund or want to be a part of your business, because one of the misconceptions is that the bank wants to invest in your business. They don't. A bank is not an investor. A bank's job is to get paid off of your loan, right? So if you can't pay your loan back, why would they give you money? And I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. It's fine. You can say that it is me, 100%. No one is paying you to follow your passion. It's not a real thing. But you can find organizations to get behind what you're doing, but they're going to get behind, what was the second part of that? What you are doing, right? So if you're not doing anything, you can't expect anyone to come and invest or pay for your business, right? But we'll talk about what that looks like, what you are doing, okay? So, stages of a business life cycle. So how do we get there, right? And oftentimes, this sometimes is a step that we forget or we bypass because we want to get in it. We want to get active. We're ready to go, right? We have an opportunity and we seize the opportunity. And sometimes that is great, right? But we have never stopped to think about the strategy, right? What does that look like? I literally had the conversation yesterday. I have a business scenario, and it's like every single time I go to this particular meeting or whatever, I feel like I have on skates because it is just like pew, 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 pew. And I'm like, I can't operate like that, right? Like, we gotta slow down because directions are coming from here, there, and everywhere, and we're going nowhere, right? So we have to take the time to develop a strategy. Strategy can be scary for a lot of reasons, right? Because when we enter into entrepreneurship, a lot of times we are doing it for a reason, right? And mentally, to my gentleman's point, we tell ourselves that entrepreneurship is going to yield us this certain amount of money because the plan that we have in our head makes sense, right? And maybe it can. But we got to go back to that embryo story, right? You don't see the fruits of your labor until several months after, right? And even in that scenario, depending, there could be complications. There could be hiccups, hurdles. You got to go to visits. You have to pay for all these different things, whether it's vitamins, getting the clothes, all this kind of stuff. Yes, we have things like baby showers and reveals and all this kind of stuff, but at the end of it all, you still got to come out of pocket. Okay? So let's talk about this whole concept of a business GPS. All right? So, who uses our GPS? Yeah? All right? So when, right? Right, me too, and I'm right down the street. So when you think about a GPS, and I'm talking general GPS, what comes to mind? Direction? What else? Where you need to go. What comes to mind when you think about a GPS? If somebody says GPS, boom, what pops in your head? Guidance. Phone, right? Because most of us use it on our phone. Navigation, maybe it's audible, right? Sometimes it can be slow, right? So all these things. So we associate GPS with direction. Will we agree? All right, so what are some key things that we need in order to utilize a GPS? Okay. What else? Say it again.
The starting address, where we're coming from, and the address to where we want to end up.
Okay. I got you. So, she said you have to have a destination and a starting point. Would you all agree? If your starting point is incorrect, what happens to your directions?
You can actually lengthen the time to where because you're not at the correct address. So you can waste time. You can get lost. It may not. You can end up in a place where you don't want to go because you didn't have the proper address from where you are right now.
Absolutely. Perfect. So everything she said, everything you all said is correct. A GPS provides, first and foremost, navigation. Okay? Time tracking. So when you utilize a GPS, it gives you an estimation of when you should arrive. Now, there is no physical or tangible business GPS that says if you start today, by September, this is going to happen, because it's subjective. However, there are industry scenarios. There are things that can tell you if this, then that, right? So a business GPS provides something similar. Warnings. How many of us in our business venture have ever received warnings? Let's be honest, right? We've all received warnings. When I started my company in 2017 here in Texas, so I've been an entrepreneur since 2010 back in St. Louis, but when I came here, I worked for the Small Business Development Center for several years, right? And I'm a learner, so I enjoy learning because I love helping people get to, whatever outcome. And so many people told me, you shouldn't do it. This is not gonna pan out. It's not gonna work. Red flag, red flag, red flag. But in these warnings, it's up to us to decide what we're gonna do with it, right? So warnings are given not to always stop us, but to prepare us, okay? But if we do not pay attention to the warnings, we're blindsided, right? GPSs can provide faster or alternative routes. Would you agree? So how many of us have known a place that you have to get to, right? You traveled there before, but you put it in the GPS and you're like, why would it tell me to go that way, right? You're like, I'm not going that way. It's trying to take me here, there. You know what I'm saying? It's trying to take me,
I know better.
right? And so you start driving on that path that you thought was the best path, and the classic thing in Texas happens. What is it? Traffic, construction, road closed, accident, right? And if you, I'm gonna pick on you, if you are like me, you be like, dang, I should have listened, right? I should have took the GPS. So in that moment, you're in a panic, right? Because you were supposed to be at that appointment at 10 o'clock, and it's 9:58, and you still got 15 minutes, right? So it instantly becomes a state of panic because now you're in a press to get to a destination that you absolutely could have gotten to if you would have followed the instructions, right? How many of us can see that being a thing in entrepreneurship, right? It gives perspective. So again, I can only talk about myself, but if I know that I've been asked to go somewhere and I put it in the GPS and it's like 2 hours and it got that red line, you know, I'll be like, oh, so I am so sorry. I am unable to make it because I don't like traffic. I really don't like traffic, right? Or it helps you with planning, right? If this is a place that you have to get to, now knowing it's going to take you 2 hours to get to that place, are you going to plan for a 30-minute commute? It gives you perspective. So you can decide if this is what you want to do, how to do it, do you need to reschedule, rethink it, right? So a GPS gives you perspective. Accuracy of destination. If you do not have a what? How do you know where you're going? How do you know where you're going? But oftentimes in entrepreneurship, we set out on a journey. We get in and we go, right? But we have not taken into consideration what our destination is. But then we're offended when other people ask us, what are you doing? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? But we don't even know, right? So it's super important as an aspiring entrepreneur or an entrepreneur that you have your own destination. What does that look like? In 3 years, I would like to be ... In 6 months, I need to be ... If this is something that you are leaving a corporate structure for and you know that you need to replace an income, here's the amount of money that I need to bring in my household ... And guess what? If you have to go and get a part-time job, you still got bills to pay. But that does not mean that you cannot continue in this process, right? Because I don't know who ever told anyone that W-2 was not sexy, okay? I don't know where that comes from. I don't know how that got started. But please understand, weekly paychecks are cool with me, okay? Not only that, at tax time, that W-2 credit comes into play, okay? So when determining your destination, please consider working, right? Because what did the thing say? While working. And that does not mean that, you know, you can't work for someone else while you're building your dream because, again, end of the day, you got bills you got to pay. So here are a couple things that could go wrong with a GPS, right? Well, I like this little animation there. Don't worry, my GPS says there's a road there, right? Because we sometimes can rely totally on a thing, right? We all have to use common sense, right? But there are some things that can go wrong when you utilize a GPS. No signal. How many of that has happened? You're driving, you're like, GPS signal lost. You're like, no, oh my goodness, I'm in the middle of a community neighborhood. I don't have no clue. But we've put our dependence on that GPS, right? Misguided directions. You show up and you're in an open field. They're like, you have arrived. You're like, I know you lying, right? Traffic. We won't even go there. We won't even talk about traffic. Road closures. Let's talk about this thing called toll roads. Who favors toll roads? Some people do. Nobody?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it depends, right? What would be an example of a toll road for a business?
You have to subscribe to a business so that you can grow your learning in an area.
Okay, I'll take that. What did you say? Fees, right? You got to pay. Unexpected expenses, you name it, right? So an example I'm going to give of a toll road for a business, because let's be real, right? Sometimes toll roads are needed. You just either don't want to deal with the traffic, you're trying to get somewhere a lot faster, you don't mind paying to get it done, right? But when you get on that toll road too, sometimes it's still traffic, yes? So now you're paying and you're still sitting in traffic, right? Because we feel like maybe we can cheat the process. An example I'm going to give to that, again, don't shoot the messenger, right? Y'all can shoot Charles, don't shoot me. No, I'm just playing, don't shoot Charles either. Clifton, I called him Charles. It's Saturday morning, I'm sorry. But paying someone to write your business plan, that's a toll road, right? Because you're going to pay them to write your vision, your concept, and guess what? You still might not get funded. Guess what? You still may not get that opportunity, right? So you've paid to be on that toll road, and you still got to go through the process, right? A positive example of a toll road. You're pretty good at creating general flyers, right? But you want to change the market that you are trying to approach, right? And your flyers are decent. But the audience that you are going after, it's a little bit elevated. So instead of you doing it yourself, you pay for someone to get you right. Your marketing materials are laid out. Things are clean, they're polished, they look good, right? That's a positive example of a potential toll situation for a business. It will get you to a better or greater destination, right? And it was worth paying for, right? So again, in all of these processes, understanding how a toll situation impacts your business is super important. Sometimes you may need it. Other times, it's not that beneficial, and you end up paying for nothing. Detours, it's a thing, right? You can go off track, even with the GPS. Detours are a thing. If business was a straight path, I promise you, no one will be sitting in this room today trying to get educated, right? Because we wouldn't need it, right? So when we find ourselves on these detours, because we started on a process that we thought was the best, but we realized real quick, this is not happening, so we have to take that detour, also known as pivots, right? And we have to be okay with those. So what does that look like to develop your business GPS? Couple factors I want you to consider, okay? Where are you realistically? The biggest critic of our business is us, right? Because I will bet so much money on the fact that the person that you are telling about your business that you want to get to another place, they stuff a hot mess too, right? So there's no need to say that you're in a better position than you really are, because at the end of, especially to a lender, especially to a partner, because it's going to be more embarrassing when they find out the truth, right? Hey, listen, I don't have any money. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here. I need help. Let them help you from where you are, because it will be received so much better and you will go so much further, okay? So where are you realistically? Where would you like to go? If you don't know, neither do they, okay? It's important for you to know what your destination is. If you want to stay in that business forever, wonderful. If you want to be in it for a couple of years and you want to transition out, wonderful. If it is a side job, wonderful, right? But you have to know where you want to go. And you cannot let anyone else determine that for you, okay? It has to make sense for you and your scenario. Identify your SWOT: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and your threats. Because this acronym is probably one of the single most important assignments that you can do as a business owner. Because you need to know what you bring to the table. You need to know what you don't bring to the table, because that's where the opportunity for connection comes. All these people in the room, and I'm pretty sure I heard real estate a good 4 times, right? It's okay to partner. It's okay to connect. It's okay to say, I'm not real good at this, but I'd like to connect with you, and maybe we can work something out. Because that then becomes an opportunity, right? Little money is better than zero money. So instead of us wanting to gatekeep and hoard it all, right? Think about that extra 10, 15% that you can get if you partner with someone doing the same thing. Because, 0%, 100% of zero is how much? Zero, right? Threats. Threats are uncontrollables, right? You have nothing that you can do about that. Economic downturn, funding cuts, you name it. But if you have a strategy of some sort in place, the threats don't hurt as much, right? Because of the detours, right? You've prepared for them. You have something or infrastructure in place that, okay, well, I'm not able to do that. Let me go ahead and, try this path. Determine the cost. I see this every single day. And maybe at one point in my life, I was there too, so I'm not throwing shade or pointing fingers. But we don't determine the cost, right? It sounds good. It feels good. It may even look good. But we have never sat down and counted up the cost. And cost is not just financial, right? Cost is time. Cost is energy, right? Cost, of course, is financial, but we haven't determined the cost. All money is not good money. Because I'm going to give a prime example. I have several partners in these school districts, so if anybody is watching, love y'all. But working with these school districts or government entities and things like that, they want so much. And you get paid pennies on the dollar, right? But for us, I just picked up this contract with blah, 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 blah. And you haven't even calculated how much you're really getting paid, right? You're not getting paid, you're getting played, right? But that's because we have not determined the cost, of what it really means to do the business that we want to do, okay? Assess feasibility. If it does not make dollars, it does not make sense. If you are in business, and yes, there are things that you have to do for free. There are things that are not gonna, pay this exorbitant amount, right? But you have to determine sustainability for yourself. And if it's not working, you have to be willing to shift until it gets there, right? There's no sense in holding on to something that is not going to yield results because you're going to suffer in the long run. Have something, to go alongside you in that process. And if it is not a feasible business, that does not mean you failed, right? The only time you fail is when you stop. But the smartness comes when you can say, you know what, that's not a good opportunity for me. I'm going to do something else. So you have to assess your feasibility. Acknowledge the travel time. It's going to take you a minute to get it right. And it may not happen the first time or the second time, but in your mind, going back to the GPS example, if it is a 2-hour commute, if you set out to get from Fort Worth to Waxahachie at 5 o'clock p.m., and you're thinking you're going to hit it in 35 minutes, I'll tell you, I won't even tell you to look at the GPS. It's not going to happen, right? Whether you take a toll road or not, right? So you have to be realistic with the time that it takes to get to where you're wanting to go. If you want to make $50,000 in revenue for your company, okay, you have to know how much product do you need to sell? How many services do you need to sell? How much time do you need to invest in making it happen? Because just because you started a business, the doors, people may not be lined up for it, right? Because there's so many options. So you have to acknowledge your personal travel time. Anticipate the traffic. Go into this thing knowing there's going to be some stopping points. There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be challenges. Because when you do that, you've already put yourself at an advantage, right? Because we go into oh, no, it's going to work. It's going to, I've been doing it for a long time. I have lots of family and friends. I have lots of people. I have lots of followers, right? And they ain't following you to that bank, right? Actually, sometimes they start detracting. If they see you have too much motion, let's be real, right? And that's traffic, right? Those are hurdles because mentally we have one thought. I'm connected to so many people. I know, they're going to do this, that, and the other. And family and friends, listen, I won't even, he got me. Family and friends, that's not your customer base, okay? So you have to anticipate the traffic that you are going to run into for your business. Don't be afraid to switch lanes. Now, staying in a lane is important, right? But don't be afraid to switch lanes because if you see that lane is not moving, it's okay to go around. And if I'm being honest, sometimes we can have a block in our lane and we can't even see what's up ahead, right? Maybe you're riding behind a big truck, right? And that truck, you're thinking this is what the flow of traffic is, but really it's just that truck. So sometimes we need to slow down, come around so that we can excel, right? Or get ahead. Don't be afraid to switch lanes. If what you are doing is not working, that's where the innovation comes in. Rethink it, right? Take a pause to say, what else can I be doing, right? How can I make this make sense? but we cannot do it from a place of desperation, right? Because when we get to that point, we don't want to hear anything. Like, we're focused on the need at hand. Factor in stops along the way. How many of us are driving and we're like, oh, I need some coffee? Search along the path, right? It's okay, right? Sometimes you have to make stops as part of your process. Sometimes you may need to go off, get some gas, refill, right? Sessions like this should serve as a refill, right? Connect to the Empower Service. He's giving you knowledge. I'm going to give you some other information here in a bit, but you have to refill all the time. You want to know why? Because if you don't, it's going to become heavy. It's going to become so overwhelming that you're going to want to give up. And again, the only time you fail is when you stop. So, how do we make it happen? A business plan. There's so many different types of business plans out there, and I won't go into all the factors of developing a business plan, but happy to talk about that offline. Something, right? Whether it's a lean canvas, a full-out business plan, a strategy plan, you have to get it out of your head and you have to put it on paper, right? So I made this so that you can know a business plan is absolutely needed for anything that you are trying to do. You don't need it to get started, but you will need it to stay in it, okay? So, steps you can take to help assist you in the process, and I'm going to go through these quickly. Develop a true entrepreneur mindset, right? Guys, we got to stop thinking that there's all this money out there for us as entrepreneurs. Our money is within ourselves, right? We have to support. We have to network. We have to engage. We have to present value for what we sell, okay? Continuously increase your business knowledge. Time is a thing, right? It's a spendable commodity. So if you're not able to spend money, then spend your time, right? Some of the things that we want and we need, we want people to pay us for our business, right? We have a product or service and we're selling it, right? We're like, I'm in real estate. I sell hair products. I do dip repair, whatever the case may be, right? And we want people to pay us. But the moment they say, oh, well, I'll send you my Stripe or whatever for my consultation fee. Oh, okay, well, I'm not really in a position to do that, but you want me to pay you, right? So we have to start thinking about that constructively, and you have to increase your business knowledge. Sign up for classes, sign up for workshops, because you're going to learn something different in every scenario. You're going to meet somebody amazing in every scenario, and to the next opportunity. But again, we like to gatekeep because we feel like, well, I'm not going to tell them what I'm doing because they're doing it. Let me tell y'all something. Do y'all know how many programs out here do entrepreneur education? A lot. But guess what? I had to get to a point where I told myself they're not doing it like me, right? So guess what? If I got to be the Dollar General of the ecosystem, baby, guess what? We finna. Because every time I go in Dollar General, it's jumping, right? I don't have to be the Walmart. I don't have to be Target, right? It's okay. Attend workshops and relevant networking events. Apply what you learn. If you're going to go to these and you're going to spend your time, but you're not going to do anything with the information, you have wasted everybody's time. Yours, theirs, whoever else, your customers, right? Because what you are selling is needed. You just have to be diligent and making sure that your customer knows that, okay? Write down all of your ideas. When they come to you, write them down. That does not mean act on it in that moment, right? Write it down, because when you have those detours, closures, roadblocks, this is your list that you want to go to for your pivot, okay? So it's the if not now, when scenario. Do not assume. Y'all, people could see you, they can follow you, they can talk to you. That doesn't mean they know fully what you do, right? Do not assume. Do not assume that other people find value in what you do, right? You have to always pursue, pursue, pursue. Establish goals. Ask questions. You have to ask questions, because if not, you're going to be the one left out in the cold. All right, goals. So we've heard this, right? SMART goals. Everybody familiar with SMART goals? So it's one thing to set a goal, but it's another thing to set a SMART goal. The difference between the two is that SMART goals are measured. So you could say, I want to lose weight all day long, right? How? What are you going to do to make that happen? Establishing your goals is what holds you accountable to making sure that that happens, okay? They have to be specific. If you want to lose weight, okay, you want to lose weight, you want to drop 20 pounds by May 31st, and you're going to eat less, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to, all these different things, right? Time-based. Put a deadline on it. If you're like me, I operate best with a deadline. You give me open range, I'm like, oh, shoot, let me make sure this happens, right? You have to set deadlines. You have to make sure that they're attainable, right? Attainable goals are good, because if you can't do it, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? If you say you want to make $50,000 by summer, but you don't network, you're not doing anything you haven't created a class, you haven't put out any materials, it's not going to happen, okay? All right, so let's talk about resources real quick. So on your table or somewhere, there is a sheet that has a bunch of area resources. It's like colorful, it has links. Yes, this one. Can you hold that up for me, Ms. Virginia? To them. In Dallas-Fort Worth, we have no shortage of programs, okay? No shortage of programs. There are so many more that could be on that list, but I kept it to one page. I encourage you to tap into the resources in your community. As long as you are willing to do the work, these programs are there for you. Right down the street on the left-hand side at Martin Luther King and J.B. Jackson, I recently opened in partnership with Vista Bank and the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, the South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center. It is a low-cost, flexible workspace where we provide your mail. You can do your mail package pickup. You can come, you can work out of the space. So it's like a professional Starbucks. You can print, there's a conference room, all those things. Foundationally, as business owners, we have to stop putting all of our personal information public to the world, because the way things are changing, the more they know about us personally, the more they're going to come after us. And when you think about how other cultures establish themselves, it's very rare that you see their names public on their business documents. If you're using your home address, and I'm not saying this to force you, because there's other companies that do mail service, but I encourage you, do not use your home address as your business address, okay? Do not put yourself as your own registered agent, right? Because That's public information. And from a credibility standpoint, if I Google your business and it shows me your front door, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we need to have a meeting. Are we in the kitchen? Like, where are we at, right? So, South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center, I did bring guest passes for all of you guys. If you want to come check it out, just come hang out with us. We have workshops, we have events. Follow us online. We're on all social media. I also included what our rates are. So if you don't need an address and you just need a place to come and work, we have that there. Also in your handouts, this is our call to action, okay? So if everybody could do me a favor and scan this QR code. The Verizon Small Business Digital Ready Program is a free, somebody say it with me, free platform that are listen to podcasts, you enjoy learning. They have so many relatable videos on there to help you grow your business. 3 times out of a year, they do offer a grant, okay? And the grant is based on geographic use or, you know, how much you watch the videos, etc. But I can attest that there has been 3 in our market that they have won, because I'm not gonna put my name on anybody's lie. And if they're not funding our area, I don't want any parts of it. But they are. So I encourage you to get on the platform. Even if you don't have time to attend classes in person, right? Here is a platform for you to increase your learning. It talks about structuring, how to incorporate AI into your business, financials, you name it. Great platform. Please sign up. If you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer any of those questions. In conclusion, first and foremost, you have to cultivate a true entrepreneur mindset, right? And I stick to the term true because there are a lot of misconceptions out here, guys, about entrepreneurship. You have to know what is true and what's not. Next, develop your own personal business GPS. Tell yourself where you are realistically, where you want to go, and put the parameters in place. We do a full-out series on what that looks like. If you connect to Foundations EDC, information about that will be coming out here shortly. Plan, strategize, execute, okay? Plan, strategize, execute. You can plan it, but if you don't execute, it's null and void, right? Be patient. Trust the process. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? And your business will not do it either, right? Even if you see online where these influencers and all this kind of stuff, you don't know what they're doing on the back end. Social media will mess you up, okay? Social media will mess you up, all right? All right, so scan that. I'm a QR person, if you didn't know. But the QR code here, it brings you to our Foundations EDC link tree, where we have a good amount of things that we are connected to on there. So that's how you can connect with us. Myself and my team, we are ready to help and assist and make sure that you guys have access to what you need. We are, and I'll say me because I won't speak for my team, but I'm hardcore, right? I love all people. But if you come and say you want help, you're going to get help, right? So if you're not ready, say you're not ready, and we're going to make sure we get you ready. But I am the type of person, if you tell me you want to do something, let's do it. Let's make it happen. So I just want to thank you guys so much for your time today. listening, being a part of the conversation. If you have any questions, we can open it up.
First off, just love. Yes, yes. You are truly a blessing. It is 12 o'clock. We're going to stay online for a little bit, for longer, because there's some valuable information coming up. If you're online, go ahead and put some questions in the chat. I'll speak for you. And then for you guys here, use the mic so that people who are watching can hear you. So when you finish your question, pass the mic.
Okay, you mentioned registered agent, so what's the alternative?
So the alternative is using yourself, right, so you can be your own registered agent, or you can subscribe to a company or something like that to where their name is listed and their information is listed on your business documentation. And so what a registered agent does is, in the event of any type of legal action, if someone researches your company, it does not go to you personally. It will still show you as the owner of the company, but they have no contact. They would have to go through your registered agent.
So you can put your business name down as the registered agent?
No, you cannot be, your business cannot be its own registered agent, but you can be your business registered agent. You as a person can be the registered agent for your business, because it's two different entities. But if you are your business registered agent and I'm looking you up, I'm talking bill collectors, stalkers, whoever, they're going to come to you. A registered agent blocks that.
My question is investing considered entrepreneurial, and also these principles of building a business applied to that activity?
Investing, so becoming an investor? Yeah. Anything you do can be considered entrepreneurial, right? And the principles can apply to any process of entrepreneurship, right? I think the bigger question would be like, what's your capacity and what's your end goal for becoming an investor? Because most investors want some form of a return, and you would have to identify what that looks like for you, if that makes sense. But yes, the principles of entrepreneurship still apply. Now, there are some other regulations that will go into what that type of business, but the same rules apply. People have to get to know you. You have to validate. You have to make sure it makes sense for yourself, all that kind of stuff. Yep.
Thank you very much. No, I just want to thank you very much.
Yes. And you said your name was Nino Brown? Leo Brown. Okay.
Nino Brown was the guy on...
New Jack City. Funny story. So my husband looks like Wesley Snipes, okay? He used to be in a motorcycle club, and that was his name, Nino Brown. So if you guys follow me socially, you'll see my husband somewhere, and he looks like Wesley Snipes. So I was like, No, you don't look like him. No, but I thought Nino Brown was your name. So, other questions?
So thank you, Darlisa. I really appreciate you having this event. I know I came in late, but so I've known Darlisa for a long time. Her and I have served on a few committees together throughout different organizations. And so just to kind of like point, I just opened up my LLC recently, and I went through a website to do it, and they provided like a registered agent, right? And
Yep.
so I believe it's like a virtual kind of deal. So like if I ever get communication, it comes directly to me like via email, or they'll send a message through the website itself, but it'll show like it's in Houston, so it's not even
Yep.
local, right?
Yep.
It's a totally different name, kind of deal. And so is that something you offer? Do you offer
Yes,
that?
through the Innovation Center. So the South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center does offer registered agent services.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you had a lot of really good stuff. So I hope that this is like recorded. We could go back and like listen to it more. but or listen to it again. But just to point on what you were saying about, like, you know, friends and family usually are not going to be your best customer base, but you would think so, like, especially if you have a really large family, like, hey, you should support me, right? Because I'm starting my own business, but that's not the case, right? And so what I've learned over a decade of networking in different communities is that strangers are your biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a really great feeling once you really accept it, because it's just amazing, like the connections and relationships that you make with people that you never thought you would ever connect with. So just like to keep that in mind is that don't be afraid to meet new people and to be open to different people, you know, in different ways. And so anyway, it's just
Thank you.
My name's Crystal Sanders, and I work with Dallas Dent Company. We do like hail repair, dings, dents, scratches, and all of the above.
Yeah.
Thank you, because one of the things that we talk about is, you know, we are all in the relationship business. Doesn't matter what you do, you're in a relationship business. And your breakthrough is going to come from people that you don't know right now. So the quicker you can get connected with them by networking, you know, letting people know what you do, the faster, you know, you will get to your success. Any other questions?
I like to piggyback on that. So they say friends and family keeps you where you are. Strangers make you rich.
Okay. I like that.
Word.
She had a
Anything else?
question.
No, I'm going to give you the mic so people can hear online.
I just wanted to ask you, is that the QR code that you had the same QR code that we have on the sheet? Because I wasn't able to pull it up.
No, girl, I got QR codes for days. So this one connects to our link tree, but on our link tree, that one is on there, yes. But this one gives you all the resources and connections. Other thoughts? Any questions online?
So if you have any questions online, feel free to ask. And this is not the end. This is really the beginning. Do not let this be the end. We are recording this, and the reason I record is because so many times we go to workshops, and after the workshop, we go back to our normal busy lives, and we only retain, what is it, 70%? No, we lose 70% of what we cover.
I'm like, I don't retain 70. I can tell you that right now.
So with that being said, please come back and visit this again. Please come back and take the actions that Darlisa talked about. Make notes. Make notes and take action on those notes.
Yes. And now, while we're passing the mic, so if you're in the South Dallas community and you're able to attend these events, starting next week, there's going to be some events that are taking place at the Innovation Center. But I encourage you to connect not just with the Innovation Center, but Foundations EDC, because our organization is entrepreneur education. So we partner with subject matter experts that come in and teach these classes, right? It's not always me, but we partner with business owners. If you are good at something, we want to get behind you and we want to share your expertise. So you can reach out to me, let me know. We'll put a program together for you. Let's make it happen.
So could you talk about you kind of touched what the negatives are to the reason for having a registered agent?
Yeah.
Can you speak on the positives of having a registered agent and why you should have a registered agent, a personal one, versus maybe virtual or whatnot?
So a positive to having a registered agent is so that your personal information is not front-facing, right? It is public information. So your business formation documentation is public to the world. So having a registered agent takes away your personal information. You can have someone else, it does not have to be a company, be your registered agent. But the benefit to having like a company be your registered agent, because they have to abide by certain rules, right? Most companies provide you with a letter from the Secretary of State that shows that they are an official company and that they are abiding by those rules. So and a lot of famous people do this, right? So they have business entities, but if you look that business up, you'll never know that it's their company because their information is removed. They're still the owners, they're still all of that. And in the event of, let's just say an example could be child support, right? If someone is served, right, if they look the business up, they won't come to that location of where your business is. They have to go and they have to send it to your registered agent, right? So it's like your middleman, if you will.
So before you ask, the question online has to do with business coach planning or business plan writing coaching. And I know that on your resource list, you may have listed the small SCORE and the resource partners. Online courses out there. There are courses that nonprofits put on about how to write a business plan. But the question here is, do you coach business plan writing in one of your businesses?
We partner to do classes for it, yes. I personally am usually attached to a program of sorts, and I may do something similar like this, where I am teaching about it, but it's usually in partnership with someone else.
Okay, can you do the registered agent, and Darlisa's gonna know why I'm asking her this. Can you do the registered agent after the fact?
You can change it. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can just do an amendment to your documentation.
Okay,
Yep,
thank you.
yep. But I will say, if you paid a fee for it, let it be that for that year and then change it versus changing it once you start. So if you put, for example, if you were to list yourself as a registered agent to get through the process, right? You can change it at any time and convert it to a company. But if, like Crystal's example, if you went through a company to file your LLC paperwork, you have that for a year already. So you would want to wait a year and then change it if you wanted to.
Okay, so for myself personally, I created the corporation. Does that automatically mean I created the registered agent?
If you didn't add someone else, then you probably put yourself as a registered agent on there.
Okay, then that's probably what I did.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying wait a year.
No. If you put yourself on there, you can change it.
Okay, that's what I did.
You can change it.
Okay.
Yeah.
At any time, so I can change it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this not great?
I think he had a question again.
Oh, did you have a question? Hold on, we'll give you the mic.
I just want piggyback on. So one of the other great reasons to have a registered agent, especially when you get ready to raise funds, do a fundraising for your business, going to a bank or going to for private lending and things of that nature. You have a registered agent. They like that better because now they know they have someone when they can send notices or whatever. So it helps establish, as she said earlier, credibility. But the biggest thing for you is when you get ready to raise funds to grow.
Did you have a question, Elizabeth?
Thank you. Any other?
Registered agent is popular. Let's go. Right?
That registered agent question. Good or not so good idea to have your tax accountant as the registered agent?
Do they know that they're your registered agent?
I asked specifically before I was going to update it, but I didn't know if that was like good.
I mean, it can be if you have a good relationship.
Okay.
The only thing I would say, I mean, yeah, they can be if they're a registered agent company. The only thing I would say is if you decide to use someone else as your tax person, could that create, but if they're just your registered agent, no, it's fine because they are an entity, but yeah, it's fine.
So to that point, outside of the business part, because that brings up a good point, who else, if it's not necessarily a business, if it's, you don't necessarily want a family member. I'm just trying to think of who would the best person be for longevity.
I would say finding a company that provides the service, right? Because there's no, it's not a emotional connection or anything. They're literally just your registered agent, and they'll send you the notices, all that, and you know they'll make sure from a regulatory standpoint they're in compliance. So best case scenario is to find a registered agent. If you're doing an individual, right? Because any person can be your registered agent. You just have to know that they're now attached to your business.
So there's a lot of businesses that do it, but here's a business that I would ask everybody to consider. There's a business called South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center. They provide those services. So
we do. We do.
So isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So
yes.
I love this. Do you not love this?
I love this.
Do you not? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Give it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I tell you what, so many things. I took some great notes, but even now, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch this again. You know, I've been doing this since 2011. My man, yeah, like University of Texas in Arlington, or UTD, right, in Arlington. That's when we started, right? So we started this on March 31st of 2011. We had an event at SMU with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. That was the kickoff of the Empower Series. And since April of 2011, on the third Saturday of every month, we've been somewhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area doing just this.
Woohoo!
Doing this. And then we went to Dallas, went to Houston for a while in 2018, 2019. Then COVID locked us down. Empower Series, you are the Empower Series. This is the Empower Series community, right? We are greater together than individually.
Yeah.
And when we do things like this, then we experience it. And you guys are a part of a dream of mine. So people, you don't make your dreams come true, other people do. And you've been a blessing.
You've been a blessing.
You've been a blessing.
You've been a blessing.
Hey, if you guys are watching, if you guys are still with us, thank you. We're gonna end the live streaming, but it's not over. You're staying connected. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Send me an email at thrive@empowerseries.com to let me know what you liked, what you want to get more of. Please stay connected with me. If you want to go to our website and kind of get on our newsletter, you can give us your information there, or just like I said, email me. You can also complete a survey. Let us know how we can be better. Let us know your feedback. And then also, if you care to give, let me just tell you this. There's 4 things that I ask of everybody who have an experience with the Empower Series. Number 1, most important, get what you're supposed to get from the Empower Series. There's a reason why you're here, to either be a blessing or get blessed. Whatever it is, get what you're supposed to get from the Empower Series, number 1. Number 2, I ask that you share it with someone else. Be the angel for someone else. We all need to be better angel watchers, because there are people around us that can help us take that next step. Number 3, I kind of wrap things up here. In every event we do, we want to do 4 things. We want to give you hope that you can achieve whatever goal you have envisioned in your mind. We want to inspire you to take action, consistent action on your ideas. We're also going to educate you like you've been educated today, but education with no action doesn't get you anywhere. And the last thing is connect you to the resource that can help you take that next step towards your goal. Darlisa is a resource. Do not let her leave without you knowing how to get in touch with her again. Visit her South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center.
I have day passes for you.
What did you have?
Day passes.
Oh, day passes.
Yep.
Stay engaged, right? Meet somebody here. Stay connected. So hope, inspiration, education, and connection to resources. We've been doing this for 15 years, and we're always growing. We're always growing. So thank you.
And the Verizon.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you do an account with the Verizon program.
And I put that in the chat, live chat. So don't leave here without making a connection. You know, there's a reason why you're here. I love you. Stay connected. And until we meet again, be